Okay. What I like about you not knowing the question and me already knowing the question is I still don't know where it's going to go, and I still don't know what it's going to open up, and obviously you more so. But this is my next question. Obviously, we know music is very spiritual for you, and you're writing a lot of music at the minute. How will your music challenge the music industry?
That's a very good question. An excellent question.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to have to back up on that one a bit.
Oh.
Now, some time ago, I think about, crikey, when was it? 15 years ago. No, it was 2007. That was the year. In the autumn of 2007, I went on a conference. It was a spiritual conference where the two people that were actually running the show were both messengers for some of the Ascended Masters. One was a messenger. The guy's name was Kim Michaels. It's interesting. There were two Kims there. He was a messenger specifically for Jesus, and then his wife was a messenger for other masters like Buddha and what have you. And so we had these lectures, and during the course of the lectures there was periods when the masters would speak through these two individuals, literally speak through them. So they would telepathically speak to them, and they would then talk it. Really quite interesting. And which I found quite interesting. And there was, during the course of this 3-day conference, there was a session on music. And we were told that 300 years ago, or there about 300-400 years ago, was the advent of classical music through composers like Bach, Mozart, and Beethoven, who were the three big ones, we might say. But there were many others, you know. And the idea of releasing classical music, as we refer to it now, was to give people an idea of the type of music that was spiritually and physically good for us. This is the type of music that is created and played in heaven. You know, the angels have their own choirs and they all do their own singing and what have you. And it's classical music, which is what they perform. Because the Ascended Masters knew that in the period after the Second World War, the fallen angels would be released from the pit where they were put in by Archangel Michael. And they would come out and they would create another type of music which was not good for us, which was music, certain aspects of jazz, certain aspects of rock music, music that was played not on the beat, but off the beat. Because music that's played continually off the beat is very bad for our chakras, which are our spiritual energies that surround our body. And I knew that this music would cause havoc amongst the youth and would lead to a fall in vibration, and could lead to drug taking and all sorts of activities which were not good for people. And so they released the classical music to give us an idea of what was the right sort of music.
Okay.
In order to prepare us for the onslaught of the fallen angel music. Okay. Now, a lot of people are going to find that really hard to swallow.
Yeah, it's quite deep.
It's very deep. And anyway, I wrote. Originally it was a song, I think, but I could really refer to it as a poem because it was too long to be a song. It was called The Ballad of Voodoo Rock, and it incorporated all the teachings that I received from this lecture on music. And Kim Michaels came up to me after it and he said, Kim, had it occurred to you that, you needed to bring out some music which was good, And I thought, crikey. Because, I was shocked. Because, I used to like Deep Purple, I still do. And all the heavy rock guys, and I thought, crikey, have I been listening to all this stuff? And it's been harmful, some of it. Where it's played on the beat is fine. Where it's played off the beat, it's not good. And I was really shocked. And it took me months to think about it. But I realised that because I'd been studying spiritual things and studying about music and its effect on people, I realised that they were actually right. And I'd gone there to that conference, perhaps to listen to that lecture and do something about it in my own way. So yes, that was a massive revelation.
I think it's fair to say that, definitely with me, we all sing a song, but do we actually know the words? Do we actually know the meanings? Do we actually, or we know, like me, I'll sing probably the same few lines over and over again. I don't know the rest of the song. And actually, when you read the songs, it's like, oh, I didn't realise that word was in it. I didn't realise that word was in it. I didn't realise it was about that. And one great classic example would be, and I know we're going back to a different generation, but Frankie Goes to Hollywood Relax. And that got banned. We all sang it, but we probably had no idea what we were singing, but actually what it was about was like absolutely controversial at the time.
Totally. Yeah.
And I guess that's very typical of how we interpret songs. I added another playlist to my Spotify the other day because I like the songs. I have no idea what they're about, but I like the songs. Nor am I going to go into to read the lyrics of it, because actually I like the songs, and that's it. But I guess with your songwriting, it's going to potentially take the same path, isn't it? People are going to like it because I do think it's lovely. But do we know the lyrics? Do we know what it's about?
We will go to great efforts to make sure that people get to see the lyrics.
And that's where I think it will perhaps open a door. It might challenge people. It might throw a different pebble into the water. Because, a lot of the songs in the charts, you can tell my age at the minute, are all about love and marriage and giving birth and all of that lovely things in life. But actually, your lyrics and words aren't about that, are they?
Not really, no. So the answer to your question is that music actually is the most powerful energy in the universe. Because how did it all start? The building block of creation is light.
Is?
Light.
Light.
And when God created the world, he said, let there be light. He spoke. So he had the thought before he spoke that he wanted to create. He then spoke, let there be light. Now the speaking voice is music. So music is is the most powerful creating force that there is. By the same token, if you take the purity of music and make it impure, or impure, shall I say, better English, impure, you can cause problems. It's like with anything, there's light and dark. If you use music for a bad purpose or a negative purpose, you can create havoc, because it is such a powerful energy, such a powerful force. It's elemental, totally elemental, in the most elemental way. So the dark forces that have been controlling this planet for eons have used music to keep us down. Have used bad music to keep us down.
Are you...
So the industry itself is part of that, or has been part of that for a long, long time.
So are you ready for the critics? Are you ready
I'm sure
for your challenge in music?
I'm not saying, let's be clear, I'm not saying that all music is bad. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, there's some absolutely fantastic music.
Well, everything's subjective anyhow, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is subjective. It is subjective, yes. But sometimes, let me just say this, sometimes things can be harmful that feel good. Now, let's take a few examples. Certain types of drugs may feel fantastic, but they're not doing you any good. And when it comes to music, music has an effect upon your chakras, which is your energy centers. And you can actually feel, if you go to, say, a rock concert, you can come away feeling totally elated because you've enjoyed the concert. But what has actually happened is that your energy centers have been drained of light. And that light has been forced out of your body by the music. And this is where the feeling of elation comes from. Through that forcing the light out. And it may feel good, but it's not good, because it's lowered your vibration very rapidly.
So how will your music fit into that?
So I know this because I've been a drummer playing rock music, and sometimes, at the end of a gig, I might feel fantastic, but I've been pounding these, offbeats out for a couple of hours, and it's drained me of light. And we then become susceptible, because our energy, well, not our energy, but our what's the word? Consciousness has been lowered to such an extent that we now become susceptible to external forces who are saying, well, why don't you go into a hotel room and, smash it up? Why don't you go and, drink yourself into oblivion? And this often happens. I mean, if you watch the movies,
rock and roll.
Well, is it sex, drugs, and rock and roll?
Absolutely, apparently.
So
how do you think your music will be different with regards to energy levels and consciousness?
Well, we've tried to minimise the negative effects of that could be put into the music. Shall we say that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's mainly when it comes to the beats. It's got to be continuous. I mean, even classical music they use off beats.
But a lot of it is about the words. But not continuously. A lot of it is about the words, isn't it?
It's the words. I mean, when I wrote my book, A Golden Age Economy, I did actually have a whole section on music, and I did go into all of this, and I did give examples of certain songs and the lyrics that really were beyond the pale, actually.
And I think we can all relate to music. You know, we all have our, you know, a thing that floats our boat. For me, you know, I couldn't live without music for whatever reason. And, you know, for everything that it makes me feel, either negative or positive. But I do think the challenge will be when people look at the words, people look at the meaning behind it. And hopefully these podcasts will allow people to get their head around you and your meaning behind everything, and what's sort of at the root core of the lyrics, so that not only can they appreciate the music musically, but lyrically as well, if that's a word.
Yeah, in terms of my songwriting process, the lyrics always come first.
Yeah. And I guess I mean, I have no idea, but I guess that's probably I don't know, but I understand that, because the song is a story, and I guess so the lyrics is the song, and the song is the story, and I guess that's how you make it up. But I know when I have the opportunity, I'll definitely be looking at the lyrics in your songs, especially the songs that I've heard. Because yes, I actually do like the songs, but again, I have no idea what the lyrics are. So it'll be interesting to see what my perception is with it once I've read it. And yeah, you know, it'd be interesting to see if it does challenge the music industry, because it is different. You know, I'm the wrong person to ask, but I can't think of anyone else that would be.
Can I just make
similar.
a point before I send hitmen out to kill me? The music industry has, up until this time, had its good and bad sides. Okay. I think going forward into 2026, I think we're going to see enormous changes
in music.
For the good.
Yeah.
I really do.
And hopefully that will include AWAKEN, We Are Gods.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah. What a lovely way to end on the title of your forthcoming album. Thank you, Kim.
Cheers.